The next horse in my horses to follow is the Goffer, and he's almost about one race, to be honest. I don't believe this horse stays 3 miles, and I know they keep trying him over 3 miles, and he can run okay, but I always think he's getting tired towards the end. Some of his efforts, including when fourth at Cheltenham in the Ultima behind Correct Rambler, Fast or Slow, and Monbo Genius, he went well for a long way. Ridden and headed at the last, soon weakened is the write-up for that. He didn't stay the trip. And bizarrely, because of that, or after that, they went for the Irish National. Didn't make sense. He pulled up. Then they returned to Sandown for the Bet365 Gold Cup. Again, he ran well for a long way. Didn't stay, in my opinion. Finished 4th. Beaten by 3 really strong stayers that day. Then he returned for the Galway Plate off the back of some really tough runs. So he went March, April, May. No, he went March, April, April. 3 tough runs at Cheltenham, Fairyhouse, and then Sandown. Returned for the Galway Plate as a 6-year-old, so still lightly raced and still relatively inexperienced, and ran well for 8th. I actually think it was a really good effort, and I just think the race, the way it worked out, didn't really suit the Goffer. But that came off a mark of 140. He's now down to that came off a mark of 146, sorry. He's now back down to 140. If he ran off 140, you'd think he would have got closer anyway. So he's already, working his way up in terms of a race that maybe he'd come off the back of a hard season and that didn't work on that occasion. But if he went there off the back of a lighter campaign or less stamina-laden races, I think he could go well. But that's not the race I hope he goes for. I hope he actually turns back in that race that he won previously here at Leopardstown, where, if I just load it up, we can see the race was worth $78,000 for the winner. That is a race worth targeting, isn't it? You can win 2 of those in your career, 2 78 grand races. As a national hunt horse, that's great. He's now 7. He's rated 140. He won that race back in 2023 off 138. So he's only £2 higher. And he won it relatively comfortably. He won by 2 lengths. And I think that's the key. I really think this trip is key. If we actually look at his runs over 2 mile 4 to 2 mile 6. He won at Navan in a hurdle race. He then went to Limerick for I can't remember whether it was a graded race or not. He finished 4th. Then went and won a grade 3 novice hurdle. Went to Cheltenham for the Martin Pipe. Finished 15th, beaten by Banbridge. Obviously, that was a really strong Martin Pipe. The Martin Pipe generally is. And he didn't really run to his best that day. Was hampered a little bit in the run, but, it's still the Martin Pipe. Returned for a beginner's chase, finished 4th. Won at Turler's in a beginner's chase. Then went to Fairyhouse over 2 mile 5. He was 2nd to Hard Door. Stepped up in trip to 3 mile. That run doesn't count. Dropped back into handicap company, or his first run in handicap company over fences was that race at Leopardstown, and he won it. He's had 2 subsequent runs between the 2 mile 4 and 2 mile 6 trip, which I think is as ideal. If we actually look at the 4 wins. 2 mile 5, 2 mile 6, 2 mile 4, 2 mile 4. That's what he wants. His 2 subsequent runs, as I said, he finished 8th in the Galway Plate, when I think it probably came off the back of a season where he'd done too much. And then he pulled up in a handicap at Punchestown at the end of last season here. But that came off the back of running in the Grand National, where he finished 13th. Didn't stay the trip. But it was in a Grand National, that always leaves its mark. And less than 3 weeks later, or it might have been just over 3 weeks later, what was it? 18 days later. Less than 3 weeks later, after finishing 13th in a Grand National, he was sent for a handicap chase at Punchestown and pulled up, never travelling. I think it left its mark. He's since run at Listar in the Kerry National, where Flooring Porter won it, but didn't stay 3 mile. But that just means he's slowly dropping in the handicap, and he's now down to a handicap mark that is very interesting. The race at Leopardstown isn't until February, so you could get another run into him. Over 2.5 miles, 3 mile, get him beat, get him back to 138. If he turns back up in that race at Leopardstown off 138, I will definitely be backing him. and it's worth 78 grand to win it. Why on earth would you not be aiming for that race? He's a horse that just wants 2.5 mile. I will give him a couple of chances over 2.5 mile, to be honest, and I'm looking forward to seeing him this season.